Yeah. Hey, keep on blinking on and off. It's about to cut off. Hey, y'all just junking like.
You ain't get that.
Dang, you.
This is the one? That was no more than one. I got one more.
I'm